Hello and welcome to the Committed Podcast. I am here with my special co-host for the week, Ms. Brinley Gonzalez, and our featured guest today, power pitcher from the Bombers, Arizona State commit, Cambry Krager. How you doing today, Cambry?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good, good. Now, did I pronounce the name correctly? Because I butcher names for a living. I got it right?
Yes. Yes, that's correct.
Yay, two in a row. So the two interviews in a row, I got the name right. So my fielding percentage and my pronunciation percentage is going up. So we'll take it. We'll take it. So like I mentioned before, we just talked to Brinley on the last episode. So this is the third time. So this is going to be a habit. But when I find cheap labor this talented, I ride it. So Brinley, welcome back. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Good, good, good. Hey, Brinley, as always, I want to give way to you to just brag a little bit about your teammate. Tell us a little bit something about her. Keep it positive, keep it PG. Go for it.
So Cambry actually stayed with her almost every single tournament. We stayed in an Airbnb. So I wouldn't say it was the best, but it was fun. Just kidding.
Ah,
I'm just kidding. It
she's
was
got
amazing,
she's got
Cambry.
all the dirt, Camry, so she can tell all the secrets.
One thing I can say about Cambry, she's definitely fun to watch. Her demeanor, she's a feisty little thing. But yeah, I love watching Cambry. She's so good at what she does. I just loved watching her play.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Camry, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
I'm good.
Good, good, good. So tell me, Camry, tell me a little bit about your history in softball. Obviously, you're getting ready to go to Arizona State, so that's never a short journey. I'm sure you've been playing for many, many years. Kind of take us back to the beginning and kind of your path to where you're at now.
Yeah, so I used to live in Brock, Texas, so I started with Brock Little League.
Okay.
I was never very good at softball until I got to about 14, 15. So growing up, it was really hard to find me teams to like actually pitch on to get better. And then I got on Coach Christie's 14U team, and she kind of took me in and developed me, and now we're here.
That's awesome, and that's very good for girls to hear, especially a lot of the younger girls that we talk to and they kind of watch the podcast. That sometimes it's about the right fit. Sometimes you can bump your head trying to fit on a team, where sometimes the easiest thing to do is just to find another route. And so I'm excited that you found that coach that kind of helped you along and flipped the switch, and now look at you now. That's awesome. Good to see. So tell me, when you say you kind of got I won't say a late start, but you kind of clicked a little bit later at 14, when did you know that you were going to be kind of good enough to get to that college level?
Well, to be honest, I never let myself think that wouldn't be good enough.
Okay.
It's funny,
Good
at age
answer.
12, I made a deal with my dad. I told him, I said, "Hey, Dad, if I can go play college softball at a Power 5, now Power 4 school, will you buy me whatever car I want?" He's like, "Yeah,
Ooh.
Cambria, I'll get you whatever you want." And of course, at the times, like I was terrible. I couldn't pitch on a team because I couldn't throw strikes. And so he was like, she's not, I'm like, yeah, I'll make that deal, but it's not
Yeah,
going to
that's a
happen.
safe bet. That's a
And
safe
so, and so here we are. I got the car I wanted and going to Arizona State. So, I mean, I think I've always believed in myself. It was just finding people to believe in me.
What kind of car? How hard did you hit him for the car? What was it?
A Porsche Macan.
No way. Oh my goodness. Wow.
She's
So
gorgeous. She's beautiful.
wow, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yes.
So that's amazing. That's an amazing story. Like if we stop the interview right now, that's amazing. First car. Well, that might not be your first car, but that's the first car. That was the incentive car. So that's awesome. That's good to know.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit, how did you first connect with Arizona State? I mean, did it start with a camp, emails? How did that work out?
Yeah, so I started going to camps back when Coach Ford was there.
Mm,
And I really fell in love with Tempe and like just the place in general. It's beautiful and the campus is awesome, the field's awesome. So when Coach Ford went to A&M, I was pretty like upset. I was like, well, like there goes my chance of going to Arizona State. Like the new coach probably isn't going to know who I am and all
mm.
this stuff. So I was pretty upset about that. And Coach Bartlett got there and it ended up being a great deal. So, I mean, I've always wanted to go there. Back in COVID, when COVID started, I
Mm,
told my dad originally, I said, "Dad, I think I want to go to University of Arizona." And he
mm.
was like, "Well, let's get in the
Tucson.
car and let's go." So we drove down to Tucson or drove up to Tucson. And I was like, "Dad, this is gross. Like, I do not like it here. And he's like, well, Arizona State's only about 2 hours. And he's like, you want to go by there? We drove all the way here. I was like, yeah. So we drove up there. I was looking around. I was like, man, I really like it here. And then we got up there, and the fields, like the crewmen that do the work on the field, they're like, hey, yeah, like go on in, look at anything you want. So it was so cool. I got to walk around on the field and everything. And that's the day I decided that I wanted to go there. So.
Nah, it's so funny too because same thing. I'm from California, so Arizona's a little bit easier, and so
Mhm.
I had been to Arizona for some football games, and I took my daughter to University of Arizona. My daughter's hitting coach was an alumni from there. Great
Mhm.
history, Arizona softball, and the field is still beautiful. But then
Yeah.
when you leave and you start walking around town and campus, you're like, oh,
Once campus is pretty, and then once you get off campus, you're like, oh,
yeah, yeah. So
the field
I
is beautiful.
yeah, no, so yeah, no, the field is absolutely, and they have just a
Mhm.
tremendous history, and so shout out to all the greats that came from Arizona, but
Yeah.
it's definitely a contrast because when you head into Tempe and their stadium and their campus, it is just absolutely beautiful. They've got that river that runs right outside of campus. They do
Mhm.
tubing in the summer, and so like the Arizona is definitely, but I don't know if I had to choose between Texas Tech and Arizona State. I don't know. It's definitely a beautiful location. So take me back to the moment where you actually committed. How did that go? Was it a phone call? Was it in person? How did that happen?
Yeah. So I took my visit, and I had one more school that I was going to visit. So I didn't commit on my visit. I decided to go ahead and take my other ones. And on the plane ride home, I made a list of pros and cons of the two schools I was looking at. And my list became very like obvious, like which school I liked more. Like, I'm
Mm,
really bad at making decisions. Like, I can't pick which ice cream flavor I want at the ice cream store. So it's like I didn't realize how in love I was with it until I made a list, and it became very obvious that it was the place for me.
no,
So I think I gave it 2 more days to sit, and then I called and I let them know that I was going to be coming there.
that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, they definitely got a great picture. Definitely. So tell me, obviously, nobody really gets there on their own. You obviously did the hard work, but who are some of the people that really supported you? Who makes up your support system?
Yeah, I mean, my mom and dad, obviously, for one, they're awesome. They've supported me when no one else did. Coach Kat, she's awesome. She's my pitching coach outside of like being like our Bombers pitching coach. And
Nice.
she's been really big for me and like building my confidence and teaching me even just the little things, but outside of softball and life. So she's been great. My grandparents, all my family's really good. My friends, Brinley and her family are awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's really cool. That's really cool. So another question I always ask, because you mentioned a little bit about your pitching coach, and obviously anybody that's pitching at your level does a lot of work. What is your training regimen like? What kind of training do you do outside of regular practice?
Yeah, so I have my personal trainer that I go to 3 or 4 times a week. His name's Jeff. He lives here in Georgetown with me. So I go to him. Right now I just go whenever I go want to go during the day, but during school I get up and go 6 before school started. And then recently I've started going to Isaiah. He calls
Okay.
himself the foot doctor. And he's done so much for me in a short period of time. So I really been enjoying going to him. I go to him once a week. And then Kat, we drive down to New Braunfels to see her once a week too.
Okay, good. So that's awesome. I mean, obviously, like I said, you put in the hard work to get there, and so that's really good. Tell me, when you're not training and not pitching and not doing something softball related, how do you spend your time?
I like hanging out with my friends. I'm a really big shopper, which is terrible, but I love shopping, so I go do that a lot. I try not to spend too much money.
Well, when you're driving around in
Mhm.
a Porsche, I mean, geez, you gotta, you can't put cheap bags in there. You got to do a little bit of shopping. So
Yes.
definitely understandable.
Yes.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So tell me this. Obviously, like I say, you got to where you wanted to be. You landed at Arizona State and beautiful campus, beautiful thing. But what were some of the unexpected challenges or surprises that you came into during your recruiting process?
Yeah, I think during the recruiting process, two things that were really hard for me was one, telling schools no. I remember one of my first people that I called and told them, like, hey, I'm not going to be coming here, was some school that I had honestly never heard of. I had no idea who the coach was. And I remember I got off the phone and I was just bawling. And my mom and dad were like, "What's the matter?" I'm like, "I just feel so bad." And so one thing for me was I was very big on making sure, like, even if a school had texted me or something like that, I made sure that I talked with them and let them know that I wouldn't be coming and that I didn't want to go on a visit. And I made sure to have that conversation over the phone instead of just texting or ghosting because I didn't want to burn any bridges. But that part was really hard for me because
Yeah,
I'm not good at telling people no. So I felt
yeah,
really bad.
yeah,
And then the second thing I'd say that was really hard for me was not rushing myself to make a decision because of social media and everything. Like, you see, "Oh, this person already committed. She knows where she's going. She's going here." And like, everything's happening at once. And there's so much pressure on you to just hurry up and make a decision. So that way you can be done with it. People know where you're going. But at the end of the day, that's not how you make the best decision for yourself. And decisions take time to make. So just being patient and waiting on your time to make your decision is really big, I
yeah.
think.
No, that's very mature. Like I said, we talk to a lot of girls, and the panic is real.
Hmm.
The insecurity is real. You see your friends are committing, and I need to do the same thing. And unfortunately, like I've been able to talk to a couple of girls that kind of committed out of pressure, and then they ended up regretting it, or ended up having to call back and be like, you know what, this isn't the place for me. And so that's very mature of you to be able to actually, withstand that temptation to actually wait. One thing that's kind of fascinating, because like I said, this is the first kind of time that I've heard that response to that question where you felt bad kind of telling them no. What were kind of some of the reactions you got when you did tell the schools, thank you, but I'm gonna go somewhere else?
I personally got nothing but very kind, nice reactions out of them. It was
Okay.
very well, thank you for your time. Thank you for considering us. Just stuff like that. They're very nice. I never got any bad responses or ugly behavior out of anyone.
Okay, awesome. Well, that's definitely good to hear. Good to hear. Well, so I only have time for one more question, so I'm going to throw it over to my co-host, Ms. Gonzalez. And Brinley, what's the last question we're going to ask Camber today?
So for this question, Canberra, it doesn't have to involve me, but I mean, you can if you want to, just saying. But what would you say was like the most memorable moment for travel ball or just
Um,
softball in general?
I mean,
I like how you had to
obvious.
kind of steer that to your team, Brinley. I like how you did it. Very, very, very smooth.
Obviously, getting to hang out with Brinley every weekend.
Stop. Stop.
But I'd have to say my favorite memory is winning a national championship. And not only just winning the national championship, but the many steps it took to get there.
Mm-hmm.
Before the tournament, during the tournament. I mean, my team, we fought hard. Me and Brinley's team. We're not the smartest kids in the world. We decided to take the hardest way to get there. We played 8 more games than the team we played in the national championship.
Oh,
So we got it done though, and I think that was a great memory and a great way to end my travel ball season.
oh, wow. So unfortunately,
Process.
you guys lost early and went through the long way, the scenic route, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, I tell you, like I said, it makes it that much sweeter when you did it. So you guys have both prevailed and had an amazing run in Indiana for the Alliance tournament. And so I just want to congratulate you on all your success from the tournament to Arizona State. And I just wish you nothing but the best in the future. So thank you so much, Cambry.
Thank you.
Thanks.